They are not dead.
They are our roots. Their blood runs through our veins. Their names shape our identity, and their stories echo in the rhythms of our daily lives. Across the world, from the bustling cities to the most remote villages, the living still speak to the ancestors. Not in hushed whispers of grief, but in vibrant rituals of remembrance. Because to honor them is not just to look back, it is to remember who we are. In Mexico, flickering candles glow beside sugar skulls and marigolds, illuminating the path for the spirits to return. In the Philippines, families gather by gravesites with laughter, prayers, and food, turning cemeteries into living rooms of memory. In Samoa, ancestors rest not in distant cemeteries, but beneath the very floors of family homes. Their presence a daily reminder that the past is not gone. It is here. Across the lands of Native America, sacred dances swirl around fire circles, and elders tell stories shaped by visions and dreams passed down through generations. These are not isolated traditions. They are the sacred threads that bind generations together. From Asia to Africa, the Pacific to the Americas, humanity shares a quiet knowing that our ancestors never truly leave. They walk beside us, guide us, protect us. And through ritual, lighting a candle, offering food, speaking a name, we open a door between worlds. We reach across time saying, "You are not forgotten." This is a journey through those sacred rituals, a global honoring of the ones who came before us, a reminder that no matter where you are from or what language you speak, the ancestral spirit lives on, in the soil, in the wind, in the beat of the drum. And as long as we remember, the circle remains unbroken.
In Mexico, death is not feared, it is welcomed. Not as an end, but as a return. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is not a funeral, it is a celebration. For 2 days each year, the boundary between the worlds thins, and the spirits of ancestors are believed to return. But they are not mourned with sorrow. They are greeted with joy, music, food, and color. It is one of the most vibrant spiritual celebrations on earth, rooted in the profound belief that the dead are never truly gone. They only wait to be remembered. At the heart of Dia de los Muertos are the ofrendas, sacred altars built in homes, cemeteries, and public spaces. These are not memorials, they are invitations, covered in marigolds, candles, sugar skulls, and the favorite foods of the deceased. Each ofrenda is a portal of connection. The marigolds, known as Flor de Muerto, guide the spirits with their bright orange color and powerful scent. The candles light their path. The food nourishes them. The photos will remind them and us of who they were in life. Every item placed on the altar holds meaning. Each gesture is a conversation across time. The origins of this ritual are layered. Before the Spanish arrived, the Aztecs held festivals for the dead, honoring Mictecatihuatl, the Lady of the Dead, and believing that death was just one phase of existence. With colonization came Catholic influence, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, and the theology of purgatory. But instead of replacing the old ways, the people merged the two. The result is a deeply spiritual blend of indigenous cosmology and Catholic ritual, where saints and skulls sit side by side, and prayers are whispered alongside laughter. This fusion is not confusion, it is cultural resilience. For many families, Dia de los Muertos is the most sacred time of the year. Cemeteries come alive with celebration. Families gather, not in mourning, but in reunion. They bring guitars, stories, food, and chairs. They sit beside the graves of their loved ones, not to cry, but to catch up. Children play, elders share memories, candles burn through the night. It is believed that on this night the ancestors come home. They walk among the living, unseen but deeply felt. The ofrenda becomes a hearth. The cemetery becomes a home. Community altars play a special role in towns and cities. Built in plazas, schools, and churches, they carry collective memory. They honor not just personal ancestors but cultural icons, unnamed souls, and communal histories. In creating and tending these altars together, people reconnect not only with the dead, but with each other. The act of remembering becomes a shared ritual. In a world that often pushes us into isolation, Dia de los Muertos pulls us back into belonging. One of the most iconic symbols of the holiday is the calavera, or sugar skull. Bright, decorative, and sometimes inscribed with names, these skulls reflect a distinctly Mexican view of death, not as something to be feared, but something to be faced with humor, color, and creativity. Death is personified, danced with, dressed up, and even joked about. This is not denial, it's intimacy. A cultural way of saying, we know death and we are not afraid. To participate in Dia de los Muertos is to step into a sacred circle where grief and celebration hold hands. It teaches that remembrance is not passive, it is active, creative, and nourishing. It challenges the modern notion that death should be sanitized or hidden away. Instead, it brings death into the heart of the home, the center of the table, the core of tradition. Here, death is not the opposite of life, it is part of life. When we light the candle, one elder says, they find their way home. And maybe that's what Dia de los Muertos truly is, a homecoming. A moment when the veils lift and the family becomes whole again, if only for a night. It reminds us that the ancestors don't just live in the past, they live in our practices, our stories, our kitchens, and our hearts. In every flicker of a candle, in every scent of mole, in every laugh shared by a tombstone, we say, you are not forgotten. And in that remembrance, something sacred returns. Not just the dead, but a sense of who we truly are. In the Philippines, the first days of November are not merely marked on calendars, they are etched in the heart of the culture. All Souls Day and All Saints Day, known locally as Undas, transformed the nation into a country of living memory. From bustling cities to remote provinces, families gather in cemeteries with flowers, candles, and meals, not out of obligation, but out of love. The grave is not a place of finality, it is a place of reunion. On November 1st and 2nd, cemeteries are not quiet, somber spaces. They become living villages filled with laughter, music, and warmth. Tents are pitched, food is shared, children run between tombstones, families clean graves, light candles, offer prayers, and speak names aloud. It is a sacred reunion, not just with the past, but with one another. This vibrant tradition is rooted in both colonial influence and something far more ancient. While Spanish Catholicism introduced the dates and religious framing of All Souls Day, the deeper impulse to honor the dead reaches back to the island's indigenous spiritual heritage. Before the arrival of the Spanish, Filipinos believed in the Anito, ancestral spirits who watched over the living. The Anito were not feared ghosts or passive memories. They were active protectors, consulted through ritual, dreams, and offerings. Alongside the Anito were the Diwata, nature spirits often seen as divine beings connected to rivers, forests, and mountains. These spirits were part of a cosmology where life, death, and spirit flowed seamlessly into one another. Even after centuries of colonization, the presence of the Anito lingers. In many homes, especially in rural areas, elders still burn incense, whisper prayers to their ancestors, and set aside a portion of meals on small altars. During Undas, these ancestral practices are amplified into full communal celebration. Families travel great distances to be together, sleeping near graves, sharing stories of the departed, and ensuring that no soul is left unremembered. The belief persists. To forget an ancestor is to lose a part of yourself. To remember is to be whole. What makes this tradition especially powerful is how it blends daily reverence with communal ritual. Respect for elders in Filipino culture is more than etiquette, it is spiritual practice. To listen to an elder's story is to hear the voice of the ancestors. To care for an aging parent is to honor the sacred cycle of life. The ancestors are not just acknowledged on a special day, they are present in everyday gestures. The way food is offered, the way blessings are given, the way names are carried forward. In this context, the cemetery becomes more than a resting place. It becomes a family home, and each grave is not a marker of loss, but a doorway of connection. The lighting of candles is not just symbolic, it is literal guidance for the spirits to find their way back. The sharing of meals is not only for the living, it is an offering for the ancestors who continue to nourish from beyond. The whole atmosphere is one of joy, reverence, and deep belonging. As one Filipino elder put it, we don't just visit the grave, we visit our family. The oral traditions passed down during these visits are as important as the rituals themselves. Elders tell stories of their grandparents, recite names of those long gone, and ensure that even the youngest children know their lineage. In a rapidly modernizing world, these stories are anchors. They carry the history of a family, the lessons of generations, and the wisdom of those who lived through joy, hardship, war, and peace. Undas is not about mourning the dead, it's about keeping them close. It teaches that death does not end a relationship, it changes its form. The ancestors continue to walk with the living, and the living are bound to them through love, memory, and ritual. In the Philippines, honoring the dead is not a one-time act, it is a way of life. And in that continuity, the culture preserves something essential, a truth that no spirit is truly gone when it is still remembered.
Delayed focus designed to honor the sacred presence of ancestors around the world.
In Samoa and across Polynesia, the relationship with the ancestors is not one of distance, it is one of daily presence. The dead are not hidden away in cemeteries far from the rhythms of life. Instead, they are brought close, sometimes quite literally. In many traditional homes throughout Samoa, Tonga, and other parts of Polynesia, the ancestors are buried not in distant graveyards, but in the front yard or even beneath the floorboards of the family home. Their presence is woven into the architecture of everyday life, a constant reminder that those who came before are never truly gone. They are not just remembered during rituals, they are lived with, spoken to, honored with each breath and decision. This closeness creates a spiritual intimacy that shapes every aspect of Polynesian culture. Ancestors are not only remembered, they are called upon. During weddings, births, and rites of passage, ancestral blessings are invoked to guide the living. In moments of conflict, illness, or uncertainty, families turn to those who came before, asking for strength, wisdom, and protection. The veil between the physical and spiritual world is thin, and the relationship with the ancestors is both sacred and practical. A central practice that embodies this connection is the Fa'alavelave, a complex set of cultural obligations that arise during important family events. Fa'alavelave translates loosely to intervention, and it often involves extended families coming together during weddings, funerals, and naming ceremonies. During these gatherings, offerings are made not only to the living but also to the ancestors. Prayers, chants, and symbolic gifts are given as acts of honor and continuity. The rituals are not performed out of fear or superstition, but out of deep reverence, a recognition that the ancestors are not watching from afar, but participating in the present. The ancestral bond is also carried in the body itself. In Polynesian culture, tattoos, tatau, are more than art. They are sacred markings, a living script that connects the bearer to their lineage. A tatau is a rite of passage often involving intense pain and deep ceremony. It tells a story of family, land, values, and spiritual heritage. When someone receives their tatau, they are not just decorating themselves, they are embodying their ancestry. Each symbol has meaning. Each pattern reflects a story. To wear these tattoos is to carry the ancestors forward, etched into the skin like scripture. There is a saying in Polynesia, to forget them is to forget ourselves. It reflects a profound understanding of identity, not as something you invent, but as something you inherit and uphold. The ancestors are not simply figures of the past. They are part of who you are, your decisions, your actions, your voice. They all echo with the lives that came before. Forgetting them is not just forgetting history. It is forgetting your own name, your own place in the world. In a time when many are searching for meaning, purpose, and connection, Polynesian ancestral practices offer a powerful reminder that identity is not built alone. It is forged in community, in story, and in spiritual continuity. The rituals may differ across islands and families, but the core belief remains the same, that the ancestors live on through us, and our lives are threads in a sacred pattern stretching across generations. To live among the ancestors is not a metaphor in Samoa and Polynesia. It is a literal, spiritual, and emotional reality. The land remembers, the body remembers, the family remembers, and in that remembrance, something beautiful happens. A sense of wholeness, of rootedness, of unbroken lineage. The ancestors are not behind us. They are within us. And as long as we walk with respect, they walk with us. In Native American traditions, the circle is never broken. It is a living symbol that appears everywhere, in ceremony, in storytelling, in life itself. The circle represents the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It is the sacred shape of continuity, of community, of eternity. For many indigenous peoples across North America, to honor the ancestors is to live within that circle, to recognize that the past is not behind us, but around us, within us, and walking beside us. The ancestors are not behind us, they are with us, as one elder said. And through ritual, dance, fire, and sacred gatherings, their presence is called, felt, and honored. Across the diverse cultures and tribes of the Americas, each with its own unique language, customs, and beliefs, the thread of ancestral reverence runs deep and wide. Ceremonies are often held not only to remember the ancestors, but to speak directly to them. In powwows and private gatherings alike, songs are sung, drums are played, and dances spiral outward in sacred rhythm. The drum, considered the heartbeat of the earth, becomes the medium through which ancestors are invited into the space. Fire, too, plays a vital role. Flames are lit with intention, often in the center of circles, symbolizing illumination, transformation, and the sacred channel between worlds. Sacred circles are formed during many rites of passage, from naming ceremonies to coming-of-age rituals to funerals. These gatherings are not passive observances, but acts of participation. Everyone within the circle becomes part of the ancestral chain, a link between what was and what will be. When a child is given a name, it is often chosen not for trend or beauty, but for spirit. Names are guided by visions, dreams, and ancestral messages. In this way, A newborn is woven into the web of lineage with intention and reverence. It's not just a name, it's a calling. Dreams in native traditions are not just the echoes of a sleeping mind. They are sacred spaces of guidance where ancestors communicate in symbols, feelings, and visions. Many elders speak of receiving medicine songs or healing instructions through dreams. These are not dismissed as fantasy. They are honored as truth. They are shared, discussed, and integrated into ceremonies and decisions. Ancestral wisdom moves through the night, whispering through the dreamscape, anchoring the living to their sacred roots. Healing, too, is intimately tied to the ancestors. Traditional medicine often involves calling on the spirits of those who walked before. A healer may sing songs passed down through generations, use herbs gathered from lands blessed by ancient hands, or call upon spirit animals and guides gifted through lineage. Healing in this context is not just physical, it is spiritual. It is a process of remembering, of returning to the wisdom that predates trauma, colonization, and disconnection. The ancestors are not just remembered during illness. They are called in as active participants in restoration. The diversity among Native American tribes is vast, yet the belief in the sacred presence of the ancestors is a powerful common thread. Whether through the Lakota Sweat Lodge, the Dine Blessing Way ceremony, the Cherokee Stomp Dance, or the Haudenosaunee Condolence Ritual, the reverence for those who came before is central. Each practice affirms the same truth. The land remembers those who walked before, and so must we. To walk the land is to walk on sacred memory. Every step is taken on soil that once held the footprints of grandmothers, warriors, storytellers, and visionaries. The trees have listened to their songs. The rivers have carried their prayers. The wind still carries their words. Native American traditions teach us that the ancestors are not gone. They are transformed. They live in the earth, the stars, the dreams, and the circles we form with each other. In a world fragmented by time and progress, indigenous wisdom offers a powerful reminder. The past is not a place to escape. It is a source to draw from. And when we stand in the circle, when we light the fire, when we dream, and when we name, we are never alone. The ancestors stand with us, holding space, offering guidance, keeping the circle whole.
Across continents and cultures, through shifting empires and evolving faiths, one truth remains universal. Humanity honors its ancestors. Despite the countless differences in language, religion, or geography, this sacred impulse, this instinct to remember, to revere, to reconnect, binds us all. Whether whispered in a jungle, sung in a chapel, danced into the earth, or etched into stone, the call to remember those who came before is a call that echoes across the human soul. It's as if the need to honor our ancestors is inscribed into our DNA, a spiritual inheritance that transcends borders and beliefs. In the heart of Asia, families kneel beside altars, lighting incense and speaking the names of ancestors during Qingming in China or Obon in Japan. In Africa, libations are poured to the earth, food is offered, and prayers are said aloud to invite the presence of the ancestors into communal spaces. In Latin America, entire towns transform into vibrant sanctuaries where candles flicker on colorful altars. In the Pacific Islands, chants and tattoos tell stories passed down from generation to generation. In the Americas, from the icy north to the warm southern coasts, indigenous communities form circles, sing, burn sacred herbs, and walk in the footprints of their elders. What connects all of these diverse practices is a shared sacred rhythm, a universal language of remembrance. Lighting candles is not just about illumination. It is an act of invitation. A flame, fragile yet eternal, signals to the unseen world that they are welcome here.
It casts a glow that reaches across dimensions, saying, "We remember." Whether that candle is set on a Catholic altar, a Buddhist shrine, or a family grave, its meaning remains the same. It is a bridge. Speaking names is another common thread. In so many cultures, to say the name of the dead is to keep their spirit alive. The name becomes more than memory, it becomes presence. It is said that a soul dies a second death when it is no longer spoken. And so, we speak. We say their names not to cling to grief, but to affirm continuity. In schools, homes, sacred texts, and family gatherings, we honor not just who they were, but who they still are to us. Offering food is yet another shared gesture across cultures, from roasted yams in West Africa to bread in Eastern Europe, from rice in Southeast Asia to corn in the Americas. People feed their ancestors, not because the dead eat in the way we do, but because nourishment is a form of love. To offer food is to remember what they loved, what sustained them, what they gave. It's a sacred exchange, a way of saying, "You fed us, now we feed you." Meals become ceremonies, tables become altars. Cleaning graves too is an act that echoes across continents. It may seem mundane, even routine, but it is deeply symbolic. To clear the dust, to arrange flowers, to straighten stones, these are rituals of care. They speak of love that endures beyond the grave. In doing this, we reaffirm that our ancestors are not discarded. They are respected. Their resting places are not forgotten ruins. They are sacred ground. Despite all we are told about division, about difference, about the impossibility of unity, the way we honor our ancestors tells a different story. Whether you are in the Philippines or Peru, Ghana or Greece, Samoa or Siberia, the essence is the same. The ancestors are not gone. They are watching, guiding, waiting to be remembered. This truth lives beneath the noise of modern life, beneath the distractions of technology, and the burdens of progress. In remembering them, we remember ourselves. We remember what matters. We remember that we are not isolated beings, but links in a living chain. We are not alone, not ruthless, not disconnected. Every ritual, every name spoken, every flame lit is a reminder. We are part of something greater, deeper, more ancient than we can fully understand. And in that, there is comfort, there is meaning, there is unity. Across the earth, flames flicker softly against the darkness, candles lit on altars, by gravestones, under stars. Some burn beside the bowls of rice in a quiet home in Vietnam. Others dance beside sugar skulls on a crowded street in Mexico. A fire glows beside a burial mound in Samoa, and incense curls toward the sky outside the hut in West Africa. From bustling cities to silent forests, the ritual repeats. The living reach out, and the dead respond. This is the world that still remembers. To light a candle is to open a door. It is not just illumination, it is invitation, an act of recognition, of presence, of reverence. The flame becomes a voice saying, "You matter, you are remembered, you still belong here." To offer food is not superstition, it is nourishment in another form. It says, "You fed us, you guided us, this is for you." It's a ritual of gratitude, a silent prayer wrapped in flavor and scent. And to speak a name, that is the most powerful act of all, because when we speak their names, we make them present. We call them into our space, our moment, our breath. The soul, they say, lives as long as it is remembered. These are not rituals of grief. These are rituals of honor. The flickering candles, the shared meals, the songs, the dances, the prayers, they are all part of a sacred contract between the living and the dead. A promise that memory will not fade, that lineage will not be broken, that love does not end when the heart stops beating. And so we remember, we gather, we sing, We weep, we rejoice, because the ancestors never truly leave. They walk with those who remember. In every culture explored, in every sacred site visited, in every tradition upheld, there is one shared truth. We are never alone. We are descendants of people who survived, who dreamed, who prayed, who planted, who protected, who passed down something sacred. They gave us their stories, their strength, their mistakes, and their magic. And now it is our turn to carry that forward, to live in such a way that when we become the ancestors, we too will be honored, not forgotten. This video is more than a documentary, it is a doorway. If your spirit stirred at any point, if you felt the presence of someone long gone, if you remember the story, a name, a face, then let it be known. Comment below with the words, "I honor my ancestors." Light a candle if you have one. Speak their name aloud. Like this video if you believe the memory of our elders should be kept alive. Subscribe if you feel the call to explore deeper, to remember more, to walk this path of sacred remembrance with us. Because this is not just a channel. This is a reawakening, a space where the living and the dead meet through story, spirit, and shared devotion. The journey is not over. In the final chapter of this series, we will explore the sacred wisdom the ancestors still offer to the living, the lessons encoded in ritual, the teachings buried in language, the healing that only comes when we listen with our soul. Until then, keep remembering, keep honoring, and know this: when you remember them, they remember you. And in that mutual remembrance, something eternal lives again.